3 pounds, 4 ounces. Your day one leader takes over the lead with just 2 anglers left to weigh. Start today with 48.10, needs 14 pounds, 11 ounces. 14 pounds, 6 ounces. Bryan Schmitt is a 2-time Bassmaster Elite Series champion. Schmitt seals the deal and becomes a 2-time Bassmaster Elite Series champion.
All day one, the big bag day one was on a Missile Baits Magic Worm. And since then, it's been an eclectic group of different baits, and today was all about the Carolina rig, the Baby Destroyer from Missile, and that's the only thing I could get on the bite. Hey guys, Bryan Schmitt here. Just got back from the Mississippi River Bassmaster Elite event out of La Crosse, Wisconsin. We're able to get out of there with the W. Blown away about that. You know, it was well needed. We all want to win, but just a solid event was needed, and we got it done and everything. And we're going to dive into exactly, you know, how I went about my first 4 days there, you know, or my 4 days there. You know, it was a solid event. Have history there. You know, history can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. And luckily, when I was there, it was in May, a few years back, and the river flooded, so I knew that what I did then wouldn't be good now. But I had, you know, a definite comfort with this fishery, you know, having history, you know, good history there before, and just being a river system full of grass, you know, to have a chance at making the Classic with a solid event and letting me fish a river system full of grass, I was happy, you know, however it would turn out. I couldn't ask for a better, you know, a better scenario. So, you know, practice was pretty good. The first day of practice, got on some fish in the grass in pool 8 and had some solid bites. Had a few areas I felt like had concentrations, you know, groups of fish, and some kind of onesie twosies places, you know, like, you know, might get a good one. But I had a solid bag the first day of practice, you know, 15, 16 pounds, and knew there was some quality biting. Day 2 of practice didn't go as good. I went up to pool 7 for a little bit. You know, I didn't get on them quick, and I decided to pull the plug lunchtime, come back to 8. Had a couple bites, nothing special. And then the third day is when I kind of found the day 3 and 4 spot that I fished. You know, I was able to find it, and that's an intriguing deal there. I thought it was a smallmouth hole, and it was, and it ended up turning into largemouth as the tournament went on. But we're going to dive into day 1. So day 1 comes, you know, we're all anxious and nervous, and it was sunny, flat calm. You know, could this be a good scenario? Yes, it can be, because the fish, you know, are going to be more positioned because of the sun and the calm conditions. They're not going to be roaming around in the grass and just meandering around. They're going to be locked up tight. But you get all these bites like I did on chatterbait in practice. It was hard to slow down the first day of the tournament. But early in the tournament, day 1, I picked up a drop shot and caught 2 very quality, you know, quality sized bass very quickly in the grass. And one was a 4-pounder and one was a 3-something. And once I got those bites, I knew that this presentation would be good to use elsewhere, and just had to stay the course. You know, I felt like they weren't willing to chase as much. I didn't have a lot of confidence frogging. I knew I could get a few bites frogging and punching, but I wanted to stay more on these edges, these depressions, you know, where fish, groups of fish could be. And just so happens the drop shot rig bailed me out. So the deal with the drop shot rig, it's a standard, you know, weedless rig drop shot. I fished it on the shaky head wacky worm rod. It's a 610 medium heavy Fitzgerald rod, Fitzgerald fishing rod. You know, it's Bryan Thrift Signature Series rod. Stunner 3000 reel. I got 10-pound P-line braid. I'm going to a 12-pound P-line fluorocarbon leader. Pretty long leader. Not because they're line shy. The 12 was to get them out of the grass if they went into it. The Missile Baits Magic Worm. I've caught a lot of fish on this year, dating back to Pickwick. Weighed every fish pretty much in that tournament on it. Every fish I caught day one was on this worm in the blueback secret color. This worm gets you bites. If you guys haven't checked it out, you got to check it out. It's just, it's a collaborated worm from Missile with, you know, Robo Worm. They work together to come out with this worm. It's just a little bit bigger than your traditional Robo Worms. It gets bit, and I'm just going to leave it at that. You got to check it out. Another big deal. You see this hook? This is the Hayabusa 957. It's a light wire hook. It has the NRB coating. It's very slick, but if you look at this hook, it's your traditional worm hook, but it's just a light wire. And I'm telling you, when I switched this hook, I don't want to jinx it, but I've had very high success on landing fish in the drop shot, largemouth drop shot scenario, and you need to check it out. It saves you. Sometimes the fish catch you off guard. You're hooking them no matter what. So it's an excellent hook for this kind of setup. This 610 medium heavy shaky head rod. This has a little more power than the Fitzgerald drop shot, specific drop shot rod. I wanted to be able to get these fish moving. I wanted to be able to stick a hook in them and get them moving away from the grass, and enough power to do that. The, you know, excellent drag system on the reel, and we all know what P-line can bring. You know, P-line has my utmost confidence. I've had a lot of success with P-line for many years. You know, 3/16 Rain's tungsten drop shot weight. The tungsten helps feel hard spots. So a lot of times up north, you're going to notice you get bit in grass or near the grass, and there's hard spots. So that's another big deal. So I was able to get 2 quality bites early. You're thinking it's going to be a good day. Well, 10 o'clock comes, we're still sitting on 2. I caught one other little keeper on a chatterbait. Hey, it calmed me down, okay? 11 o'clock, still got the 3. And I had a smallmouth spot that I wanted to save. You know, I wanted to save it. I knew it was what, in my opinion, wasn't a winning spot. I knew it had 12, maybe 13 pounds on it, and I didn't want to go to it day one. Well, I had to go. I raced over to it, caught a 2-pound smallmouth instantly, caught another smallmouth, and had my, you know, had my limit, had my 5-fish limit. Well, still had that real small largemouth keeper. I decided to throw back in there one more time with the drop shot and caught a 3, maybe a 3¼ pound largie. What's he doing there? I didn't, you know, maybe it's just a weird day. Hey, we got 3 3-pounders now and 2 2-pound smallmouth. Excellent day. So I go back to my main area that I started, you know, for largemouth, which was the Stoddard area, and just really had the peace of mind to slow down. Hey, I got a good limit. What's the worst can happen? You know, I might even have close to 14, 15 pounds at the time. Well, I think I upgraded a little bit, and then late in the day, I caught 2 really big largemouth again on back-to-back casts on the drop shot on the edge of a grass. Edge, a really deep edge. It had really deep water, really close to it. But I noticed that the fish only bit on that exact spot. It was weird, like the edge was 50 feet long. It all looked the same, but they will only bite on that one little spot. So I took note of that. And later in this video, we're going to talk about why I think these fish had a specific place in the grass that they would feed, or they would just bite. You know, you think you could just meander around through all this grass. You couldn't, and it's there's something behind that, and we'll dive into that. But weigh in 1710, biggest bag of the day, take the day one lead. Everything got caught on that rod reel, that bait, that setup, that everything I weighed in on, you know, a drop shot on the Mississippi River. But conditions made me do it. So that was day one, and stay tuned. We'll dive into day two. Okay, guys, let's talk about day two. Day one, we take the lead, blown away. You know, hey, couldn't ask for a better start. Really big bag for that kind of, you know, for that river system. Now we have a legit shot at making the Classic. We got a legit shot at probably winning this event or doing really good. So right now, day two, we don't want to slip. We don't want to really bomb. You know, the conditions are changing. We had a weather delay of an hour due to thunderstorms. So you knew you were going to lose an hour right away. I think I had a shorter day, day two. Plus, we had some bad storms coming in midday. Going to have a lot of heavy rain. All day is going to be cloudy, windy, and rainy. Big difference since day one. Maybe these fish are really going to get on the chatterbait again. You know, so blast straight back to the Stoddard area where I wanted to, you know, hey, let's just lock a chatterbait in our hand with these conditions. Can't get them going again. Okay, guys, so the spot that I caught the two big ones late on the drop shot rig day one, I went there and really slowed down and threw a Texas rig Missile Baits quiver worm and green pumpkin, and really slowed down, you know, with a 3/16 ounce weight. And I was able to catch two fish, you know, two quality largemouth. I think one was a 3-pounder and one was a 2.5. Again, that exact same place in that grass bed. You know, there's just one little piece of grass that maybe stuck out a little bit further. Deep water, really close. But it couldn't expand on it. Couldn't get any more bites to the left or the right. Had to be right there. And what I believe is behind that is there's some kind of hard bottom there. There's something different on the bottom that you can't see. And those fish are sitting there. And that's where they're going to use. You know, they're not moving here, moving there, and so they're sitting right there. When they want to be in position to feed, that's where they are. And that's a big deal. So as the tournament went on, I would take note of where I would get, you know, a bite. And that's the cast you had to keep making. And that's usually not the case for just standard river grass fishing, but it was this week. So, you know, we got a couple fish, you know, we're bouncing around, moving around, slowing down with some worms. I don't know. I think I decided, hey, I need to secure the weekend. You know, I think I needed 8 pounds or something like that after my first day. So I'm going to race to my smallmouth spot again, guys, and go get a limit. So I race over there. Now it's cloudy, it's rainy, it's windy. Can't catch them on the drop shot. And that's where the old Carolina rig showed out. We picked up the Carolina rig, guys, and the bites turned more. The bites turned into, you know, a little bit better quality and a little more often. And I actually caught 2 nice largemouth there that day. And you know, here we go again. You know, the smallmouth spot did give me a limit of smallmouth. I had a limit. And I was able to catch 2 nice largemouth there, all on the Carolina rig. And I'm taking note to these largemouth. Why are these largemouth here? You know, I thought it was a smallmouth spot. It's a little deeper and blah, blah, blah. But that's a good sign when you're up north. So anyway, you know, I don't know what I had. I had 14 and change that day. And they came pretty much a few early fish in Stoddard. Then my smallmouth spot gave me a limit with 2 quality largemouth as well. And then I came back into Stoddard late and just tried my best to make something happen. I did catch one nice one punching. And you know, it was rainy and windy and, you know, all that cloudy. Why would they be in there for punching? And And I think it was like my second or third flip into a nice little topped out coontail mat, and I caught a, you know, 2 3/4 pound largemouth on this setup. This is an 1.5 ounce Rains tungsten sinker, the 5/0 FPP straight flipping hook from Hayabusa. And this is a Missile Baits Baby D-Bomb bruiser color here, and bruiser flash, and the 50-pound P-line braid. This rod, this is the Hydrilla grass flipping rod from Fitzgerald. It's a 7.6 heavy. This is an excellent heavy grass rod. This has a lot of power. You know, it's 7.6. You can get them on, you know, long hook set, you know, further out away from the boat. You can get a good hook set in them. 7-to-1 Fitzgerald stunner reel. It's a solid, strong reel. Really good for flipping. It's got a lot of power. You know, it's well built. It's not going to flex on you, you know, when we're really trying to crank them in. But that got me a key fish, you know, and I had a few other bites doing it and just had to mix it up that day. But, you know, bulk of it came, the bulk of my bites came on that smallmouth spot on the Carolina rig. And the Carolina rig became a major player for me as the week went on. The Missile Baits Baby Destroyer Green Pumpkin Flash. Gotta get it. It's a big deal on northern fisheries. This is pretty much my standard color Carolina rig, and wherever I go, I'm gonna start with this color. It's just a good all-around color. But them northern fish really love it. Got a 3/0 959 Hayabusa hook. It's your, you know, it's got a good wide gap on it. NRB coating. It's a slick coating. Helps get you a couple extra fish, because you know, you don't set the hook just good enough all the time. That coating helps guys like me that, you know, is it a fish or not? And you know, you don't set the hook good. Well, that hook's a big deal. 17-pound P-line fluorocarbon main line, 17-pound P-line fluorocarbon leader line, 1/2 ounce lead egg weight for the actual rig. I got a red bead on this. Nothing fancy. Got a Spro swivel. Spro has all the best terminal tackle when it comes to swivels and snaps and stuff like that. Never gonna rust. Good bearings and everything. So the big deal with this setup, 7.3 heavy. I used a Stunner 7.3 heavy, and this is a 7.3 heavy all-purpose I used as well. 7.3 heavy, making, you know, fishing 8 foot of water wide. I was fishing in grass. I want to set the hook hard. A lot of these fish are just in the edge of the grass, eelgrass. This eelgrass is thick and heavy. They'll bite it and go sit back in that grass. The current sometimes doesn't allow you to feel it. You got to be able to pull that fish out the grass. 7.3 heavy gets it done. Excellent rod for Carolina rigging. Perfect length, everything like that. But that's what I did day 2. I probably weighed in, I don't know, 3 fish off the Carolina rig hole, smallmouth hole, and some other out of Stoddard, and mixed it up. Caught, you know, some worming. Nothing on the drop shot day 2. Couldn't get that going. I think I might add a bite or 2 on a frog, but they didn't make it to the weigh-in. But the punch, slow worming, and the Carolina rig were the big players for day 2. And you know, I had a respectable day. I think I was still in the maybe 2nd place after day 2, going into day 3. Still got a shot. Just wasn't happy, you know. 17.10 followed by 14.25. Slipped a little bit, but hey, we got day 3 coming, so stay tuned. Okay, guys, let's talk about day 3. Day 3 is a big day. You know, after the day 2 weigh-in, you know, all the dust settles. I'm able to look at the points, look at, you know, where I'm at in the tournament, stuff like that. So we kind of had the Classic on our mind. I knew if I made it to day 4 that I would make the Classic via the way the points look. So a lot of pressure going into day 3. You know, gotta catch them, doing all the math, looking at all the numbers. Knew I needed somewhere in the 11.5 pound range. Oh, that's easy. Well, it's easier said than done. So, you know, we had 17.10, 14.25. We need 11.5 pounds. But hey, if we have a good day, you know, guess what? We make the top 10 and we got a shot at winning. So a lot of pressure. Same kind of weather as day 2, minus the thunderstorms. A lot of rain, a lot of wind coming. So blast off hits, I race down, start in Stoddard again. I felt very early in that day that I just wasn't grooving in there. I just wasn't getting them going. I checked 3 or 4 places, catch a couple little non-keepers. Decided immediately to run to the smallmouth hole. I might be able to get 11.5, 12 pounds right there and be able to calm down and have the peace of mind that we make the top 10 and we make the classic and everything. So I race over there, guys, and you know, it's a little windy. It's dark, it's cloudy. I finally get set up and start getting some bites on the Carolina rig again, man. And it was just, you know, really, really, really special to have a place like that you could go rely on and nobody else is fishing. I caught, I think, I really want to say, I think I caught close to 13 pounds there pretty quick. All smallmouth and 2 big largemouth again. No, all smallmouth and 1 good largemouth again. You know, 3.5 pound large. Problem was one of my smallmouths swallowed it and he had already passed. It's a 2.5 pound smallmouth. At the time, he made sense to keep for the weight that I knew I needed to make the classic. So even calculating with a dead fish 4-ounce penalty, I knew I had enough weight that if nothing crazy happened, I would make the top 10. So I leave that spot. All those fish came on the Carolina rig. Every single one of them, same setup. The green pumpkin flash, baby destroyer, same rod, everything. It just, I couldn't catch them on anything else. I would try. I tried chatterbait. I would try this drop shot. I would try jig. All sorts of stuff, guys. And for whatever reason, which we'll dive in later, I could only get them on the Carolina rig. So I leave and I go back to Stoddard. Hey, man, I just need to catch 2 big fish. You know, 2 big fish now will give me a shot to win this event. And I'm fishing and I'm fishing and I'm fishing. I'm not catching them. I flip and I don't catch them. And I caught 1 really nice fish. Picked up the Spro flapping frog. Take a look at this frog, guys. Kicking legs. This frog is nasty. You need to check it out. You can work it almost like a toad style frog and then let it sit. It gets a lot of bites. 50-pound P-line braid. 7-to-1 stunner reel, you know, like we talked about, really strong, really well made. 7-foot extra heavy. This is an all-purpose rod. This is an extra heavy. This is excellent for frog. It's not too long. Twitch, twitch, boom, you set the hook. That got me 1 quality fish. Upgraded a little bit. That got rid of the dead fish loss of weight in my mind. I still had the dead fish, but that made up for it. It made about 4 ounce coal. And you know, I'm fishing, man. I still got a couple hours and just still didn't feel like I'm clicking there anymore. I don't know if the pressure had got to the place or what. And I made a decision. I said, hey, I don't have nothing to save. You know, we probably got enough to make the top 10. Let's make a run at it. I ran back to the smallmouth spot and I took note of the smallmouth were here, but the largemouth bites were just a little below there. And I made 2 or 3 precise casts with the Carolina rig to where the largemouth bites were, and I caught 2 more really big largemouth late that got me up to 15 pounds. Okay, got to weigh in and I weighed 14.12, 4-ounce dead fish penalty as we talked about. And at the end of that day, I knew that fish I probably should have thrown back. That could have been over a ½ pound swing because I caught 1 that I could have got rid of him with, but at the time didn't know it. But 15, 14, 12, we got a shot going in the final day. Chris Johnson took the lead with a little more weight. Now he took a 2-pound lead over me, which is big on that river. However, pressure's off, man. We knew we made the classic. We knew we had a shot to win the tournament. All bets are off day 4. We're going to really, really try to hit a home run. Hey, what if we just sit on that smallmouth spot, or is it a largemouth spot? Let's just sit there all day, day 4, and see what happens. So that was my plan. You know, I knew we were going to have sunny conditions again. Felt like that actually helped me with the largemouth, believe it or not. And I wanted to see if it would work on that spot. So I knew day 4 was going to be a close, you know, a close chance at winning. But I also told myself that night, I said, do not keep any fish that has any signs of maybe, you know, dying on you. If you tongue hook them or accidentally gut hook them, release them right away. Didn't want to take the chance of that happening again. So stay tuned. We're going to dive into day 4. All right, guys, let's talk about day 4. Day 4, Mississippi River. Can lightning strike again? You know, I think it's back in 2017 was my only other time fishing there for another organization's trail, and I was able to win a 4-day event out of La Crosse, and it was starting to feel surreal to have this opportunity again, you know, a few years later, and really, to be honest with you, not far from where I won before. So start to get a little emotional running down the river. You know, made the classic. You know, all the pressure's off of you, man. You know, you make the classic, everything's good, you know, and we got shot to win, and, you know, got a lot of good friends in the top 10, man, and just ready. So we get to the starting spot, the smallmouth spot. As we talked about, we're going to stay there all day. Caught a few really quick keeper-sized smallmouth on the Carolina rig, and I think because the sun is out and the conditions are calm, I look over and there's some surface activity that I believe the bait rise up almost to sun themselves, and now the fish are feeding on the surface, smallmouth and largemouth. So I immediately pick up a Spro top water bait, you know, walking bait, and I throw it over there, buddy, and they're tearing it up. You know, I'm catching smallmouth quick, and you know, there's so much floating eelgrass, and it would make it tough. You'd only get a couple twitches before it was all boogered up with the grass. But I caught a quick limit. Pressure's off. We got a limit. One of them looked like it had swallowed it. Swallowed the Carolina rig. When they would eat the baby destroyer, they would eat it. And I made the decision to throw him back. And he was alive, but probably not going to make it. Didn't want that on my head. You know, they're biting too good. Throw them back. So not long after that, they come up blowing again on the edge of the grass. I throw the top water over there. Twitch, smallmouth misses it. Another smallmouth misses it. And now it's all boogered up in the grass. And I almost start to reel it in. And a big 3-something largemouth eats it, covered in grass. And I boat flip them. And I'm like, wow, this is going to be a special day. I think I had 2 really good largemouth at the time now. You know, I got that one and another one earlier. I'm culling. And I would catch a few on top, and then it seemed like that would it started to fizzle away, and the sun was getting higher, and then I just picked that Carolina rig up and went to work. So the Carolina rig, this is what I believe the deal is with the Carolina rig. The fish are just on the edge of that grass or just in it, and there's an 8-foot depression here. You know, we got a grass edge, 8-foot depression, a little bit of hard bottom right there meeting the grass. For the ones that were sitting in there, I didn't want to throw it in the ditch. I wanted to throw it into the grass and barely pull it out. And the Carolina rig would allow the bait to stay clean, if you could follow me on that. The weight gets down in the grass, but the bait is moving up here, and it's just above the grass staying clean, and that's what they wanted. You know, if it got down there and got all boogered up in the grass, you know, a traditional Texas rig, you wouldn't catch them. They didn't want to bite the drop shot anymore. So the Carolina rig was the deal, and it's just like, it's an excellent hookup ratio, landing ratio, so I was fine with it, you know, and you can catch both species. So as the day went on, I think we're at 10:30, 11 o'clock, I already had, you know, a limit of all largemouth now. I culled out all my smallmouth, maybe 16 pounds or so, and start to notice some things, you know, as an angler. You see, I saw another angler that's been doing really good. He was running around a lot, and that made me think, hey, he might not be catching if he's running around this much. And, you know, start to get these good vibes, some more camera boats show up and stuff like that. So, hey, we might have a chance here. You know, we got to keep catching them. But I decided that I'm going to stay there. You know, win, lose, or draw, you get an opportunity, guys, to have a chance at winning. It's the decisions that you make a lot of times that bring the outcome. So what I mean by that, I had a choice. I could go leave and go experiment, or I could stay here. We know there's quality fish here, and you're dealing with current. You're dealing with a river system. You can never catch them all. That current's always moving. New fish replenish. If you got a good spot, a new fish can be there 2 minutes later. He just swam up the river and got in this position, doesn't even know you're there, and bites. So I said, I'm staying. And I stayed there all day, and towards the end of the day, I caught a couple more fish, upgraded a little bit to the 1611, and caught a couple more late that just wouldn't help. But everything came on the Carolina rig the final day, except for that one on the Spro topwater. You know, excellent event. Now we got to get back to weigh-in. You know, the nerves are really high, and you don't know what anybody else has. And, you know, we make the journey back to La Crosse, get back in plenty of time, and get tied up. And you get backstage before you weigh your fish. You start to hear a little chatter, who's got what, and you really don't know until the scales, you know, say it. And I knew, man, I knew it was going to be between me and Chris, and, you know, I knew it was going to be really, really tight, and I think we both thought it was going to be very tight, and until the scale said what it said, I didn't know, and I don't think he did either, who truly would win. And it was just a magical thing when they said I had won, and, you know, to get my second Elite Series win is incredible. You know, I don't take that for granted, man. It's a very, very hard thing to accomplish. A lot of things got to go the right way. You got to have a place. You got to have a fishing spot that's either getting better, or you stumble onto a place midway through the tournament. You can't, it's very hard anymore to rely on a one place for 4 days. And, you know, all of these things got to go right. You got to make all these right decisions, and it just fell into place this week. It's like when it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And, you know, really good equipment goes a long way. And, you know, the big thing I wanted to tell you, another thing, all my equipment worked really, really good this week. Boat, motor, you know, power poles, electronics, and I relied on my Garmin Live Scope again. You know, even in shallow grass. This was a deeper spot, 8 foot, but I found the fish there in practice because of my scope. I found a hole in the grass, and when I put the trolling motor down and scanned around, I saw a cluster of fish on one submerged clump of grass that you can't see with your eyes. And I would have never known to make that cast if it wasn't with the Live Scope. As soon as I made the cast, I caught a smallmouth, and that's how I found that spot. So the Live Scope continues to produce. You know, I hope you enjoyed these videos. Thank you for all the support. You know, we're going to get into the off season here now, and you know, start thinking about next year. We got a couple more events and everything, but the Elite Series is done in the books, and we got it done. Thank you all for the support.